To excuse the mess back here. It's Monday today. I leave for Paris on Wednesday. I have tomorrow booked off to make sure I've got everything up together, so it's just a few kind of final bits and pieces to put together. But I have realised that I haven't spent any time really talking about what London to Paris really is, what the distances are, what the terrain's like, how it all works, some of the sort of extra bits of kit that I'm taking with me, nutrition, how it all gets broken down. Thought it might be a good idea to do that today. Conceptually, riding from London to Paris isn't really that technical. We start in London and then on the Saturday we arrive in Paris and we will get to see the final stage of the Tour de France. However, I haven't broken the 5 days down into any blocks really, because it's only really recently that I've actually got a bit more detail. So let's start with Wednesday. On Wednesday I'll be leaving here and riding my bike with my rucksack all the way to the nearest station and getting the train to Paddington, where I will meet my brother. We will then fiddle our way through London on a combination of riding our bikes and on trains to get to where we need to go to the briefing and to register our bikes and get all of that kind of stuff set up ready for briefing. And then we're staying in a hotel that night, or a bar or a pub or something that night nearby, ready for a very, very early start on the Thursday morning. So let's take a look at stage one, going from Kingston upon Thames down to Folkestone. It's about 160 kilometres, so it's going to be about 100 miles in total, with about 1,230 metres of climbing. It was, initially we've been told it was going to be a lot higher climb elevation for the day, but it seems to be a bit lower. They were originally talking about 16 to 1,800 metres of climbing. It seems to have been slightly reduced. The way the day works actually means that we aren't riding for the whole 160 kilometres. When I did the Grand Tour last year, one of the main factors that I wanted to get into those rides was that we didn't stop. There was a couple of days when we had to top up for water from some shops because it was just too hot, but most of the time we just rode through. We fed on the bike and we just rode the whole time, no stopping. That's not the case with this. We stop at least once for lunch, and then we'll probably stop in the morning and in the afternoon to top up our water bottles. We have musette bags that we fill with our gels and our powders and all the things that we need, rain jackets, anything that we might need during the day. That goes in a van that sits in our rolling roadblock along with the mechanics and I guess the NRG riders at the front and back to create a rolling roadblock, and when we stop off we can get what we need to put in our pockets, so we're not having to leave like I was last year with 12 gel packets and everything that you might need for the whole day, looking like Tom Scoynes was yesterday with the 25 bottles of bidons of water that he had yesterday. But that's basically how it works. Now in my mind, if you stop for more than 5 minutes as a coach, I think that really you can consider that to be two separate rides. So it's probably going to be 40-50 kilometres water break, 40-50 kilometres stop for lunch, and then 40-50 kilometres after that, there or thereabouts. So essentially 3 to 4 sort of individually shorter rides, which I think make it considerably more manageable. And this is stage 2. This takes us from Calais to Amiens. It's 163-164 kilometres with about 1,600 metres of elevation. There are a few more lumps and bumps in the elevation profile of this one, but the way I kind of factor whether something's flat, hilly or mountainous in my head is that if your elevation is around about 100 metres per 10 kilometres of riding, it's hilly, and that's what we've got here. We've got 160 kilometres and 1,600 metres of climbing, so it's just a hilly ride really, although there are a couple of bigger climbs in here, nothing any bigger than what we have around here in the Mendip. So it's a case of getting over those and recovering and regrouping. Again, the day will be broken down into kind of 2 or 3 or 4 sort of breaks. I guess if it's warmer, we'll be stopping even more. But that will take us into Amiens, ready for stage 3. And this is stage 3. This takes us from Amiens to Paris, and it's the longest stage. It's 178 kilometres, slightly lower elevation, about 1,500 metres of climbing, so below that 100 metres per 10 kilometre kind of limit. Doesn't look particularly taxing in terms of hills. However, if you look at kilometre 35-ish, there is seemingly a vertical wall in the GPX file. I don't know how steep that really is. If it's as steep as it looks on the profile, that is going to be a challenge. I'll be grateful, I think, for my 34x34 1x gearing that I've got on my bike still from last year's Grand Tour on that day. That will take us into Paris, and that will take us to our hotels. Our bikes will then be stored overnight again, and we will have a night in the hotel. I think there are some presentations, because I think Group 1 I've got jerseys and things, climbers jersey overall, that kind of stuff, so there'll be some presentations for that. And our group 3, the one that my brother and I are riding in, have got a fixed speed of 26 to 27 kilometers an hour. Now, we'll see if we can stick to that, but we are able to move up or down groups. I think if we're going to move groups, it will be downwards. So that gets us into Paris for the Saturday night, where we'll be staying in a hotel in the centre. What we'll be doing on Sunday then is something really quite unique and quite cool. Obviously, most of you will be aware of the amazing Tour de France Femme stage race that's taking place this year. On the Sunday morning, we'll be lucky enough in a group to be going around the course of the Femme circuit race that they're doing on the Sunday. We'll be allowed to ride around that with a full ASO Tour de France escort, which I think will be awesome. We'll be able to take pictures and really enjoy the experience of riding on the Champs-Elysees and find out exactly what it does feel like. Whenever I think of the Champs-Elysees, I always think of David Miller's amazing documentation of his last breakaway in his last ever Tour de France, where he's riding down the gutter and brushing past the gendarme's trouser legs whilst he's trying to stay away from the bunch. I'm really excited and looking forward to this. It's going to be a proper tourist moment and a real once in a lifetime opportunity. When we've done that, my brother and I also have tickets to go into something called the Gabriel Stand, which is also run by ASO, which means we will get to see the grandstand finish really effectively, not the VIP one, just the grandstand finish for the final stage of the Tour de France 2022. It's 2022, isn't it? Yes. Oh my word. And I think that's going to be a really rather special thing to enjoy. Who knows what it's going to be like by the time they get to Paris. The racing this year in the Tour de France has been completely bizarre and insane. And any prediction, any kind of speculation that I would normally be able to do about what is even going on in the Tour de France on a day-to-day basis, this has been completely blown out of the water. This is something that I've never seen over 34 years of following the Tour de France, what's going on this year. It's been completely insane. So in my prep, my physical prep for the tour, yes, okay, I am about 10 kilos heavier than I intended to be. May wasn't kind to me, but I am still fit and healthy. My aerobic fitness and my recovery is good. I went out and did a big hard ride on Saturday morning with the club, my favourite coffee and croissant ride. It has everything. It's about 40 kilometres and I decided to ride it hard. There are 2 big climbs in there, the first one of which I did my second fastest time up. My fastest time is actually quite recent anyway. It looks like when I've ridden up there I haven't really been trying too hard, but I rode up there with Katie McKinnon, who's an amazing road captain and an amazing club mate. She was the one of the 3 riders that took me out and did my fast 100k a couple of months ago. Fantastic rider and absolutely paced me up there brilliantly and really encouraged me and Lib to dig in really quite hard. Felt good coming over the top of there, good descent. Went up Belmont Hill as well, another one. First time I've managed to dip under 7 minutes since 2015 actually, I think, when I was able to go up there in 5.5 minutes, so I'm nowhere near close, but the point is I felt good. I was able to dig in. Heart rate was absolutely insane, like near 200 BPM. My natural highest heart rate is very, very high anyway, but yeah, I dug really deep that day. Fantastic descent down Portbury. Hit my fastest ever speed. I hit 86.6 kilometers an hour, which is about 54 miles an hour, which is pretty insane. And then we had some fantastic through and off at the end of the ride. When I decided to try and Mads Pedersen it off the front just to really eke out what I had left in my legs. Still got caught by the road signs by one of the younger racers, but my legs felt great and it was a really enjoyable ride. It's such great weather at the minute and I had a fantastic time. So from now on in, later today and tomorrow, I'm just going to go out for a couple of hour, 90-minute spins, nice and easy, and make sure all my kit's ready to go to Paris with my brother, with a load of other people over 5 days, and have a fantastic time. Thanks for watching the video. Stay watching these. If you haven't subscribed, then please do. Hit the notifications bell, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and I will see you on the way to Paris.